Among other things, Minnesota has built itself a reputation for its frigid winters and friendly predisposition. In the last 2 decades, another notable feature has branded Minnesota, and the Twin Cities specifically, its Somali immigrant population, which has reached up to 60,000 people by some estimates. Somalis have been coming to the U.S. in large numbers as early as the 1990s, fleeing a home wrecked by civil war, corrupt law enforcement, and tribal violence. Recently, as stories in local and national news have highlighted gangs, sex trafficking, and violent crime in the Somali community, a call by police enforcement for Somalis with information to step forward has fallen flat. Originally, we wanted to find out why, and what we found is that the biggest deterrent for Somalis in speaking with police comes from a lack of confidence Somalis have in police authority, a problem that seems to mostly stem from the fact that there is no clear communication between the Somali community in general and law enforcement. The relationship, at best, is fractured. As we spoke with various Minneapolis officers and Somali community activists, it became apparent to us that Minneapolis police consider their relationship with Somalis to be much healthier than many Somalis themselves perceive it.
Maybe that's perspective of the authority in the overseeing level, but the relationship of the officers on the duty, who are making the arrests, who are contacting youth, who are outreaching, who are on the field, and their relationship and how they work with the community is totally different.
Though MPD Somali advocate Janine Brudenell claims that Somali distrust of police authority comes from a tradition of corrupt law enforcement in Somalia, Rukia Mohammed, a Somali community activist, says that's not likely correct.
Young male adults who group themselves in different gangs, and they sort of have, and this is something that's new, that they have sort of embraced here in America, the gang culture, whatever that is. So that, because of that, young people don't pledge themselves to a tribe. They don't have loyalty towards tribes.
In fact, both Mohammed and Jour Ahmed, another community activist, argue that the history of war-torn Somalia has little to do with the assimilation of Somalis in Minnesota, at least not when it comes to the younger generation that is receiving the bad press. Mohammed argues that the police and mainstream media associate the problems of Somali gangs to traditional Somali tribal customs because it puts all the accountability on the Somali community.
Young adults around my age, younger and a little older, don't have, don't think tribe is relevant to them anymore. But we still have our parents and older generation who do believe in it, and so that is one of the things that the law enforcement, the problem we had in the Minneapolis law enforcement is that they didn't take their time or resources to understand the culture they were dealing with. And so that's, I think they have learned now, maybe the hard way, but initially they didn't go out and try to understand how the Somali community organized themselves.
And in regards to speaking to the police, that has more to do with simply protecting your children. No family member wants to see a loved one go to jail, Ahmed argues.
The committed crime, to the parents, they don't view it as covering up for a criminal, but more like saving their child. Saving from the unknown, and the unknown to them are jails, from all the horror stories that they've heard from. So to them, it's that not even we don't trust the authority, or to them it's like, I want to save my kid.
Ahmed has worked with KFAI as a radio host of the Somali Community Link, a show once a week that speaks to current events and trends in the Somali community. She focuses specifically on youth patterns and has heard from many community leaders about the racism and quote-unquote brutality of the Minneapolis police.
And one time they were just hanging around the area, and the the policemen that were assigned to that area started videotaping them and taking pictures of them. And while, they weren't doing anything that they would do that for, they came and complained to their youth worker or their mentor, and their mentor told them to videotape them doing that to you guys, videotaping you, so you'll have later on an evidence or something. So they tried to do that, and the policeman broke their camera.
Though we spoke to police officials other than the Somali advocate, such as Officer Jesse Garcia, an intelligence member of MPD's gang task force, and Officer Jeff Imming, an officer who serves in Minneapolis' 3rd Precinct, much of what they had to say contradicted the opinions of the two Somali community activists. Both Officers Garcia and Imming said that the relationship with the Somali community was continuing to progress and improve. something neither Mohammed or Ahmed have seen.
If you talk to an average Somali person and you say, hey, do you think the police is here for the interest of the Somali community? They would say no.
Ultimately, the most important thing to acknowledge is the fact that there is a considerable misrepresentation of the relationship between Somalis in the Twin Cities and Minneapolis police enforcement. Seeing as though Somalis make up such a large part of Minneapolis' demographic, it is a misrepresentation that needs to be addressed immediately before the opportunity for a healthy relationship is wasted.
There is no relationship right now, but there is a potential for a relationship. That's what there's no relationship at this point. No one cares about us. Like, we're not yet part of the American story. We're still an outsider.